So, what the hell is a house crawl? A house crawl is like an open house for a neighborhood. It is a chance for anybody to come out and get a sense of an area, what it has to offer in terms of house quality, size, shape, and price by actually going into a series of houses. So here's how it works. We meet at a local coffee shop. We meet up at 10, shove off around 10:30. From there, we're gonna go into 4 to 6 houses at different price points. I'm gonna try to get us into the least expensive house, which is usually smaller, maybe it hasn't been updated. So if that's the house you're looking for, you're gonna get a sense of like what your money actually buys in that range and what that house is gonna look like, all the way up through to the most expensive house on the market that we can go into. The idea is you're gonna come out of this with not only an understanding of sort of the feel and the amenities of a neighborhood, you're actually gonna walk it and you're gonna get to go into houses to see what they are truly like. Then from there, we're gonna go to a local bar. We're gonna have a beer and probably shit talk some houses. So the idea and the goal of this is to be able to give people, anybody that's looking either to potentially buy down the road or just get to know Philadelphia more or learn more about certain neighborhoods, a better idea of the areas. Also, for sellers, I didn't really understand this at first, but it's also sort of turned into like a boot camp. The idea that if you're live in a neighborhood and you're going to be selling your house, to be able to come out and go into a series of other houses on the market with a group of potential buyers and get their opinions. You know, they have no sense in this. They're just sort of walking into a house and really giving you their first impressions. And if you're working through what you need to do to put your house on the market, that is really, really valuable information. So I do also have a lot of sellers that sort of end up in the mix. So that's it, kind of in a nutshell. We go, we walk around, we drink some coffee, we look at some houses, we drink some beer, and then we do it again 2 weeks later in a different neighborhood. So the idea for this came to me about 10 years ago is when I started doing this. I was at an open house in Graduate Hospital, and I was a new agent, and you're sitting there and you're slowly waiting for people to come in. And, you know, all of these people were coming in, and we ended up having these conversations about the neighborhood. We were sort of not talking about the house, where it sort of pulled back, not even the block, but sort of the neighborhood as a whole. And people were trying to figure out if this was a good area for them. Some of these people were coming in from outside of Philly, some people with different neighborhoods, and they're trying to figure out if this is the right area for them based on a house. And it just doesn't really give you the information you need if you go at it that way. So I started to think about, like, is there sort of a better way to create a resource for people, to give people the information that they need to make sort of these bigger scale decisions? Because I think in Philly, you can sort of pick a neighborhood, you pick blocks, and then you kind of pick the house. So how do we work on that larger scale? And I, came up with this idea, met up with a bunch of friends, talked it over with them, put together a sample group. We did a test tour. We went to lunch. It was great. I put it out there, started doing it, and nobody showed up for like a year. And I'm just walking around by myself. So if you go back and look at the old Facebook posts, you think that I'm like leading the masses, but it's just very good angles on the shots. And what ended up really sort of happening was, I was working with a bunch of buyers. They finished the process, went to settlement, and then they kept saying to me, like, I wish we could keep house hunting. I really liked looking at houses. And I was like, well, you can. I'm out here. You just need to show up. And they did. And slowly, over time, through word of mouth, sort of really built up kind of a really great following, and had a really nice group of people that would sort of show up, and we would go and really look at these houses. And then COVID happened, and everything shut down, and we really haven't been comfortable taking people into one, potentially maybe somebody else's house or a confined space up until now. So now we are hitting the road again. We are going to head out starting in March. So this is a little overview of what it is. We're going to start with our coffee, and I hope you can come.